Chryston have been developing hook links for over 25 years now. They've got a fantastic reputation all over the world for producing specialist hook link materials for us carp anglers. We've come down here to meet some of the team, take a look at their range of products and hopefully pick up some advice that will help you catch more carp. Right, first of all, Dave, we'll go into the history in a minute. What I'd like to know, is it Kryston or Chryston?
Been asked that question thousands of times, Joe. We call it Kryston, many people call it Chryston, and the name came from my wife's name, Kryston Chilton, and I've chopped it up. And I looked at it, Kryston, it didn't look right, changed it to the KR, so it's Kryston, but everyone calls it Chryston.
Well, I know you've been at it for quite a few years now. Where did it all actually start?
Back in the early 80s, there was a revolution of fishing tackle. Many things were changing, but we still had nylon and Dacron, and I was convinced that presentation was the key to success. So like many anglers, I started experimenting using different materials, parachute string, bowstring, dental floss, and some of them worked, but I was still looking, searching. Then I came across a material called Spectra, and basically Spectra has changed the world in carp fishing. It was the pioneer, if you like, of modern day hook links.
Brilliant. So that was the multi-strand. Should we have a little look at that?
Yes.
Well, I'll call it multi-strand, but obviously it wasn't called that at that point, was it?
Its commercial name is Spectra. We called it multi-strand, and the ideal was, when I saw it, it was similar to dental floss, except if this was dental floss, that would break about £6, Joe. This breaks at £70. It's got amazing strength, it's got incredible abrasion resistance, and it's got the softness and suppleness, which is important for presentation. And at that time, I started to use this material and my catches improved no end. I think the reason was because of its feel. Nylon, Dacron was stiffish, you could feel it. If a carp closes its mouth and you press on there slightly, just tell me what you can feel, Joe.
Literally nothing. My fingers.
That's right, that's right. This had a great bearing on my captures. A great many anglers such as Alec Welland, Mike Wilmot, Pete Springett, they all used it with a considerable amount of success. And as I say, this led the way forward to what we today call hook length materials.
Well, I know it had a massive effect on a lot of people's fishing at the time and was far more advanced than anything else. But obviously these days, everything's come on leaps and bounds. You've got loads more products that you've brought out since, so we've got a lot to go through, and I'm sure there's plenty of little tips and tricks that we can pick up at the time. Yes,
we can certainly show people the difference and the advantages of what is available today and the reasons for using them.
Excellent. Well, Dave, we talked about the multi-strand. What was the next product you developed, and what were the reasons for actually designing that?
Well, as I mentioned before, this became the catalyst for everything we use today, modern hook links. It did have its problems. Some people with rough hands, builders, found the multi-strand caught on them, and they found they couldn't really use it to get its full potential. Other anglers were having a field day. They were using it and they were bagging up on it, but they had little tricks. So we had to make it more user-friendly. So what we did, we took the same multi-strand, very simply we had it woven. In my hand now, we've got silkworm, and in 1989, this became the world's first high-strength hook link. And as you can see, it's completely enclosed, it's woven, it's interlaced with a polyester material for balance. If you try that, Joe, it's totally user-friendly.
It's a really nice tight weave as well, isn't it?
That's right. So when silkworm was first released in 1989, it became the world's first high-strength braided hook link. And as you can see, it's got certain qualities. It's got suppleness, it's got low diameter, it's got excellent abrasion resistance, And it really changed the lives of many carp anglers from using the type of materials they had available. And silkworm then led on in evolutionary terms to other braided lines. And the difference is they've all got different rates of behaviour. In water, they all behave differently. Merlin was the next one to follow. Some anglers using silkworm thought it was too light. It didn't sink to the bottom, so we made a heavier version. It's still soft, it's extremely tough, and it's perfect for if you're fishing near lilies, any snags, and you want a line that's going to lie on the bottom. Following that, we introduced another braid, and at first glance this might look like multi-strand. This was called Super Silk.
This is another one that we used to use a lot.
Yes, this was Lee Jackson's favourite line for many a year. We still sell a lot of Super Silk today. Some anglers, they know that the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. One little tip Jim Gibbonson uses, and that is that to colour it, he doesn't use pens. In the evening, he makes a pot of tea and lets it stew. And he drops his spool of Super Silk in the teapot. And in the morning, he's got a lovely golden brown colour. Now, you'll notice that this is £20 breaking strain. And the Merlin is £25 breaking strain. But if you look at the difference in diameters.
Merlin's a lot thicker.
And this is because the silkworm's made from pure high strength fibres. It's not mixed in with polyester or any other materials. So you're going for extreme low diameter.
And what's the benefit of that then?
Well, the benefit is when you've got cagey fish, they sometimes are quite wary because we are educating the fish or conditioning them, and they know that bait is a nice living, far better than eating bloodworms and rooting about. They know boilies especially are a good living, but they do know that the occasional one is a problem bait. That's the one with the hook in. So we've got to try to outwit them, and by using the lower diameter you can do that. The difference is it does not sink readily. So we've got other products to make this settle on the bottom that you can balance it to your own degree. So that was Super Silk, and it still catches, like silkworm does, a lot of fish today. It's very successful.
As I say, I know a lot of people that just use it in the white and don't have any problems, don't even consider that at all.
That's right.
But others that are, they love the fact that they can colour it in to suit whatever they're fishing on at the time.
A lot of anglers simply rub it in bankside mud or clay, or if you're fishing on silt, it will take on some of the colour and it dulls down immediately. The last one that we did of the traditional braid, it's braided again, but it's got a very, very clever braiding technique, and the biggest attribute is, look at the shape of it and the weight of it. It will slowly sink in the water, but that is as supple as you can get.
I know that this Darryl Peck used to be a massive user of this, didn't he, in his younger days?
That's right.
And myself, again, I've used this over the years. I've still got a spool of this in my tackle box. It's brilliant for them lovely little supple hook links, whatever length you want them really.
That's
also
right.
use it as for combi links, as a little soft section.
It's perfect. And some people may look at the colour and think it's a little bit too bright, but once it gets in water, it will darken.
Yep, you can see that there, can't you?
Yeah. So it's all about presentation, and we've got different forms with different techniques because there's no one best hook link. But there's something that you've got to be very aware of, because these are high-tech materials. They've all got their own favourite knot, and some knots that we used to tie can absolutely destroy lines. You can lose as much as 50% of its breaking strain by tying the wrong knot. Use the correct knot for that particular product and you'll get maximum breaking strain. And that's why, Joe, in every spool there's leaflets giving you the strongest knots for that particular line, and also rig tips as well. Tie the wrong knot and you're losing half of the breaking strain. And later on we'll show you how some knots will destroy line and some knots you just can't break the line. so it's important, but we'll come to that a little bit later in the video.
Super.